It's Monday, July 28th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR today. Apologies for no video yesterday. No excuses, but we have a great one for you here today. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but please do hit that like button because we love your support. And let's just dive right in today where we are, and by we, I mean Michael Saylor, myself, and you, hopefully. We are amplifying the orange. Let's go. Let's amplify the orange because we know there are big things coming, and I'll be talking more about that shortly. Let's move on over to the next post by Michael Saylor, which is all about exiting the matrix. Because listen, so many people are in the matrix. What do? They wake up early in the morning, dreading the commute to work, dreading their time sitting in a cubicle to barely make enough to cover their bills. And then they repeat it over and over again for a weekend that happens in a blink of an eye, for 4 weeks of vacation that happens in a blink of an eye. And then they blink again and they're nearing retirement age. And they're kind of like, what happened during those like great years between the ages of 20 and 65? Like, what happened during those years? You can exit the matrix. I've exited the matrix. I want it for everybody. And how do we do that? We invest in the right companies. We put faith in the right technologies. And it's risky, yes. Does everybody always win? No. But I can tell you that I am happily placing my bet on Michael Saylor. I am happily placing my money, my investment with Michael Saylor, with strategy, with Fong Lee, with the strategy team, because they are cooking every single day and they are helping us exit the matrix, in my belief, in my opinion. Moving along, Michael Saylor posted yesterday, it all began with $250 million in Bitcoin. Look at what happened. $250 million in Bitcoin. Now we're up to almost 72 billion Bitcoin because what? Relentless and consistent execution. Just look at all of these amazing orange dots over the past 5 years. And you can see how it's ramping up here as these dots, these circles represent the size of the buys. And it's just going to become one orange blob, and I am here for it. And I think you guys have probably seen what's upcoming that I'll be covering here in a couple of minutes here, something in the tune of a $2.5 billion buy. But let's just take a step back and say, wow, this is impressive. It all began with $250 million in Bitcoin, and here we are today. Man, I love this. Okay, I got this post from Ragnar. No ATMs, no Bitcoin purchases last week. Most likely reason, MSTR earnings released this Thursday. Standing by for the $2.5 billion stretch purchase this week. They raised $2.5 billion plus for stretch STRC, and they are going to be deploying all of that into Bitcoin. How do I know that? Because that's what Michael Saylor does. He raises fiat and he buys Bitcoin. There's never going to be a doubt that he's doing anything different. He's always going to be consistent. He's always going to stand by what he says he's going to do, and he's going to do it. That's what I believe. That's why I'm going to invest in MSTR for the rest of my life. That's why my son and any other children that I have are going to be bequeathed shares of MSTR because I believe in the vision of strategy, period. And this just, by the way, brings up another note. Just don't believe the things you read on Twitter. Don't believe the things you read on X. By the way, things that I say, you should be doing some fact checking as well. I am very prejudiced to MSTR. I have this unwavering belief in Michael Saylor. I have an unwavering belief in Bitcoin. I have an unwavering belief in the strategies, teams, focus, and their roadmap, their path, their strategy. I have unwavering belief. And guess what? That might cloud my judgment now or sometime in the future. And for me, that's okay, because I am willing to be wrong here because I just don't see it happening. But I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to go down with this ship because I believe so strongly in this that I'm in this for the long haul, through the ups, through the downs. There will be both ahead of us for sure. But man, last week, and this is what I'm getting to, so many people were like, when the MSTR price is going down, Saylor's hammering the ATM. He's just hammering the ATM. Look at how the stock price is crashing. No, Bitcoin was crashing, so therefore MSTR was crashing. Michael Saylor did nothing with the ATM last week, absolutely zero. So you just can't believe all of these just fudders out there that are going to do nothing except spread FUD. They're probably short the stock, so they're trying to like add fake fuel to the fire. They probably have, short dated call options or put options, and they're trying to get, their personal investments to win. And guess what? That's just what people do. They want to win individually. I want to win individually. So what do? I buy and hold. I buy every single day, and I let Michael Saylor cook. I let strategy cook. I sit back and I let them do their job. And what did they do this past week? Well, they raised $2.5 billion for Stretch, and they are going to absolutely obliterate it with this product. I have no doubt. They're going to buy $2.5 billion in Bitcoin. It's probably going to be around 20,000 Bitcoin, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking in a few days, maybe next week or whenever they end up deploying it. Probably next week, we'll be talking about the fact they have over 627,000 Bitcoin. That is absolutely amazing, and I'm here for all of that. Ragnar did say this is a thing of beauty. I could not agree with him more. This was posted by the strategy account. During driving the digital transformation of IPOs with Bitcoin, Strike, Strife, Stride, and Stretch, Strategy raised $4.8 billion through Bitcoin-backed IPOs in 2025. Strike, Strife, Stride, and then now Stretch. It's just getting bigger. It's just getting better. Let the strategy team cook. They are working for us, the equity holders, and I am here for it all the way. Adrian says, MSTR, what I'm trying to help crystallize around here, around the ATM and the MNAV talk is this. The price may be set at the margins, but the multiple is set at the market. MNAV as a market multiple is not a function of ATM execution. The ATM execution is, in fact, a function of that multiple. And I really do agree with and believe what Adrian Morris is saying here. And he goes through this in this chart of how the MNAV is set by 1, perceived management competence, conviction; 2, the clarity execution; 3, the treasury company premium; 4, the broader market risk appetite, which is what a lot of people don't think about, but this is huge; 5, the Bitcoin adoption narrative; 6, passive flows from index inclusion; 7, reflexive momentum and narrative contagion. So a number of these strategy crushes and will always crush. 1, 2, was the second one, the third one I was saying. Oh, the passive flow, 6. They're going to be crushing these for forever, likely, because this is just what they do. But there's certain things that they're not going to be able to control, and that's fine. That is the broader market risk appetite. That's a market decision. Different things like the treasury company premium, like what the market decides to put as a premium on the treasury companies, the reflexive momentum, the narrative contagion, and this is going to be a Bitcoin narrative that's going to be fluctuating as well. But guess what? The volatility is vitality, and that's amazing. So just hang on for that. Let strategy do their thing and realize, hey, let's not overthink this. This is likely, in my opinion, in Jeff Walton's opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, going to be the biggest and most valuable company in the world. Yes, it's going to take time to overtake the NVIDIA $4.3 trillion market cap, but MSTR will get there. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. Bitcoin Archive says Michael Saylor strategy is now worth $115 billion, up 153% this past year, and 3,371% in the past 5 years. That's the power of building on Bitcoin. And that's the power, by the way, of being in something when these moves happen. I've now been in this for a year. So now I am the beneficiary of this 153% up in the past year. I unfortunately have not been in this for 5 years because that would be even better. And frankly, I might not be doing this show if I had an investment that's up 3,371%. I might be, I don't know, sipping Mai Tais on a yacht. Maybe not. I still might be doing the show, but you get what I'm saying. So let's be around for that. Ben says, the analyst, and that was in quotes, the analyst covering MSTR remain asleep at the wheel, never ceases to amaze me. And this is for the July 31st MSTR announcement earnings, which is coming up so shortly. And by the way, this is going to be so exciting. I can't wait to cover this. And these analysts are so wrong. They are so challenged in their understanding of MSTR. Bewilderment is and will continue to be compounding. Remember that Stretch IPO is the largest U.S. IPO of 2025. That's just a fact. $2.5 billion, not even a close second. Even Circle, which everybody was talking about, $1.2 billion. That's amazing. I'm glad it happened. But more than double is Stretch. Let's go. And I wanted to play this because this is a really cool little video clip. If you do have the ability to watch this, I recommend it because it's just good. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize the screen here, button, and enjoy. So basically, in a nutshell, if you believe in the Bitcoin power curve at all, if you believe in any kind of a cycle, this is showing that 250,000 by the end of the year is looking very likely. But again, who knows? There's a lot of things that need to happen. This is just one chart. Charts are charts for always and forevermore. But sometimes it's fun looking at Bitcoin's price in the log scale. And I have a great video clip of Pompliano. Anthony Pompliano went on Squawk Box, and to me, he just destroyed it in a good way. He went on. This was this morning, I believe, he was on. Actually, yeah, I just checked my notes. It was this morning, so this is fresh off the news. Anthony Pompliano gets on, and he absolutely has a great conversation. I'm actually very excited for his company ProCap that already has, I want to say, over 5,000 Bitcoin. I did invest in it. At CCCM is the ticker symbol. So we've got Anthony Pompliano coming up to absolutely give us a masterclass on where we're at now, what the future holds, as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors. When it comes to my assets, diversification is key. I don't want to be over leveraged in any one thing. I mean, yes, I own MSTR and it makes up a large part of my portfolio, but I also own Bitcoin and always will. And now, thanks to my new sponsor, BitIRA, you can own Bitcoin in a tax-sheltered retirement account. BitIRA has been around for almost 10 years. As one of the trailblazers in alternative IRAs for crypto, they have built the world's most secure digital IRA. Here's why you'll love them. End-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the US government. And it's fully IRS compliant. If you have a 401k from an old employer or an IRA gathering dust and you'd rather have that retirement account converted to an IRA in Bitcoin, BitIRA will help you convert it free of taxes or penalties. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without taxes incurred on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Again, that's bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
Check out Bitcoin in the crypto markets right now. Joining us, Anthony Pompliano, founder and CEO of Professional Capital Management. Each week, there's more data points that seem to indicate just increasing adoption of not just Bitcoin, but Ether, Ethereum suddenly has gotten a lot of attention as well. Is it made up some of the underperformance in recent months at this point?
Well, look, I think that Bitcoin has established itself as the king of the market. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And I actually think most of Wall Street's time and attention is on Bitcoin. There are other assets that from time to time start to get some capital flows. But if you look, things like Ethereum, Solana, et cetera, they still haven't set in new all-time highs this summer. And so I think that Bitcoin has kind of broken away. Doesn't mean that some of these other assets maybe in the future can't do that, but Bitcoin definitely continues to dominate the market, both in terms of actual dominance of market cap, but also I think just capital flows and time and attention.
We've been having a lot of people on to talk about stable coins.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about stable coins is they don't go anywhere other than stay at $1. So, they can grow in market cap size in terms of how many people are using them, but I don't think people really use stable coins as a comparison to Bitcoin or altcoins where they're looking to try to drive some sort of financial performance.
What type of I hesitate to call it derivatives, but there's a lot of different Bitcoin-based products coming out at this point. What do you think has staying power?
Yeah, well, if you really just look at what's happened over the last 5 to 7 years, is Bitcoin essentially went from a contrarian trade to a consensus trade. Everyone now, for the most part, is convinced that this thing is going to be around for a long time. And now what you see is Wall Street, who really was kind of ignoring it or trying to stiff arm Bitcoin, has now said, wait a second, let's open up the doors and let's embrace this thing because they figured out how to make money. And so you're seeing Bitcoin put into the Wall Street wrappers. First, you saw it with the ETFs. Now you're seeing it with public companies. You also have heard people announce things like Bitcoin and real estate funds. I think you're going to continue to see Wall Street take Bitcoin and put it in every single corner of the traditional financial system, because ultimately Bitcoin brings volatility. Bitcoin brings financial return in a way that they're not used to seeing. And so I think that Bitcoin is something that is going to bring more customers, more assets, and more profits for these Wall Street institutions. And that's their job, is to go figure out how to grow their business, and Bitcoin can help them do that.
I mean, how many strategy, and it used to be MicroStrategy, how many treasury officials at different companies are thinking about somehow not going exactly what strategy, but putting Bitcoin into the treasury? Is that
Yeah, well, look, I think the bigger conversation here is there should be way more pressure on the public company CEOs who are leaving a very large portion of their economic value for their shareholders in dollars. The U.S. dollar has lost 30% of its purchasing power in the last 5 years or so, since 2020. The S&P 500 denominated in Bitcoin is down 85% since 2020. Bitcoin is a much better store of value than U.S. dollars.
I guess people would say, are you out of your, people that don't believe in the whole story of crypto and Bitcoin?
Well, the Bitcoin,
I don't want my company speculating on it. And as a shareholder, they would be, petrified to have a large stake in Bitcoin.
From a Bitcoiner's perspective, we think that they are speculating on the U.S. dollar's ability to store value. And so there is two things that have happened over the last 15 years. As Bitcoin has increased the purchasing power of the people and the companies who hold it, the U.S. dollar has destroyed that purchasing power. And so again, it goes back to the fact that if you are running a company and you have shareholders and your job is to protect the economic value of that business, are you better off holding dollars for the next 10 years or putting it in Bitcoin? And I think what you're seeing is that this idea of storing corporate assets in Bitcoin, again, that is now a contrarian trade. I think it will become a consensus trade over time.
What are you going to do with your blank check and your ProCap? Are you looking around?
So we have two different deals. We obviously have the SPAC, the ProCap Acquisition Corp. We're looking to buy a profitable company
like what?
In the financial services sector. We think that there's a really big opportunity to go buy a great business that's profitable, that's growing quickly, that we can then use social media distribution to significantly enhance the business. And there's a lot of great companies that are out there, and we're going to go try to find one of those and figure out if we can do a great deal.
Is that what you're spending all your time on right now?
Well, look, I run a investment firm that's got, a team. We do a lot of deals. We do things in the private market. We do things in the public market. We incubated businesses. We're trying to build a firm that understands kind of this intersection of the digital world or the internet native world and traditional finance. And so far, we've been able to put together a couple of deals that I think are pretty interesting, and we'll see how it goes.
What's the next big thing to move Bitcoin higher, what do you think? Because it seems like you've gotten everything you wanted, haven't you, at this point?
Oh, there's still a lot more that we're looking for.
What do you want?
I think there's really three things that people are kind of paying attention to. The first is the United States government at some point is going to announce that they're buying Bitcoin. Creating the initial Bitcoin kind of strategic reserve and sitting the Bitcoin that we already had there was good, but that's kind of the, not the main dish. The main dish is when they start buying, and I think that will happen at some point. The second thing I think you're going to see some of the last standing people on Wall Street capitulate. And so there's a couple of firms that continue to say, hey, we think that this is speculative. We think this isn't good enough for our clients. I think that they'll kind of eventually give up and wave the white flag.
And then finally, Andrew Ross Sorkin decides it.
I think Andrew Ross Sorkin understands Bitcoin.
The very last.
No,
the last one.
No, I think that, look, there's a lot of folks who rightfully so historically have been. I think one time you and I talked in public, and I said, I put you in the category of you were cautiously optimistic.
I've been cautiously optimistic the whole time.
And I think that's a very fair position to take. But now I do think that it's transitioning.
You've been optimistic about Bitcoin the whole time.
Cautiously.
Go back and find the tape. 2012 and 13.
I can go back 2 years ago when it got down to 27,000. You were saying it's not a store of value. You've been saying it's not a store of value the entire ride up.
But that's a difference than whether it's a good trade.
Oh.
Go back and look at the tapes with the Winklevi twins.
I was here.
Coming on this show.
I was here.
2012, 13. Go look.
Never really been.
What'd you say?
You
go look. Just go look. You can go find the tapes.
God. Okay. All right. Thank you, Anthony. Fox, come right back.
What's the second best? There is no second best.